Well, good morning. My name is Heather O'Day, and I'm the music director of the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living. I want to welcome all of you here and everyone watching at home to the Sonoran Desert Center, and we are holding our services in the Oasis, which is an outdoor, beautiful venue, just a short walk from our campus. And I'd like to invite everyone to focus. Today we are talking about radical gratitude. I want to practice some gratitude this morning for our surroundings, practice some gratitude for each other, for the energy in the room. Well, for our health and for our abundance. And with that, I'd like to invite Leslea up to ring the bells that signal the start of our celebration service.
Good morning. Good morning. For those of you who took a bag of cookies, thank you. For those who didn't, I understand. My name is Rosie Cline, for anyone who doesn't know me. It's always a privilege to be up here to serve as your trustee for today. So on behalf of Rev Donna Maurer and your Board of Trustees, I'm privileged to welcome you here to the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living in this beautiful outdoor space. And what a perfect day it is. So also, before I forget, I want to wish you all, on behalf of your entire board, a very happy Thanksgiving. No matter what form it takes, we will find time to be grateful for that time we have with friends, or maybe by yourself. Whatever it is, we know that you will be grateful for it. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are truly welcome here. Here you will be validated, supported, and encouraged to be all that you were meant to be. Our vision statement is love in action, every day in every way. We express this love by living and learning the principles of the science of mind. On the back of your program, you will find our Declaration of Principles. Will you please join me in reading them now? And let's slow down so we can really let the words settle into our hearts. I believe there is an infinite intelligence operating throughout the universe. I believe this intelligent power is only good. I believe this intelligence expresses as me. I believe through my conscious use of this power, I create my life as happy, healthy, and complete. And so it is.
My name is Leslea, and I started I guess it was last March, and I started making mosaics because we were in lockdown, and it's something that made me pass the time. It made me really happy, and it just started kind of it was like 12 hours a day, just making these mosaics, and then I was just going and going, and I had a lot more, but I made, I posted them on Facebook, and they disappeared pretty quick. So this winter, I'm going to do the same thing. We're just gonna, lock down. But this time, I'm not gonna show anybody anything, and so I have more to sell. Because almost all these pieces are on loan from other people that own them. I had to borrow them back. And this is my very first show of any kind ever. So, yeah, yay me. And a lot of people think that the success is whether or not you sell your work, but to me, it's just the making it is the part where I feel. Selling it is I have a lot of sadness. There's a lot of lament to me, because I spend weeks making something, and I have some money in my pocket, and it means nothing to me. It's the piece that I love, and my heart is in every single one. Every single one, there's something kind of going on somewhere. You gotta look. You spend some time looking at them, and you'll end up going, oh my God, look at that fish is eating that diamond ring or whatever. So I hope maybe next year I can do this again, and maybe we can have it indoors, and I can be the artist of a month, and we can get them indoors, and I can put them up for sale. But right now, this is for your viewing pleasure. There's two right up here by the stage right here on either side, so don't forget to look at those. That's all I got.
Thank you, Leslea. They are beautiful. For those of you who view this online, I wish you could see each one. They're just gorgeous. Takes a while to look at each one just to see what's going on. So turn off your cell phones, have a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you very much for coming.
Tis the season of gratefulness. Tis the season of joyfulness. Tis the season of cheerfulness. And so we give thanks. And as I sing this next round, I'd like you to think about the things that you're celebrating this week, things that you have gratitude for. Tis the season of gratefulness. Tis the season of joyfulness. Tis the season of cheerfulness. And so we give thanks, and so we give thanks.
Good morning. My name is Judy Robertson, and I thank you for allowing me to be your practitioner today. I would like for you to just relax while I do the invocation. I allow myself to simply be. I breathe in, I breathe out, and I know that God is breathing with me in the stillness of this very moment. Now let us joyfully lean into God, and let us know that we are guided, protected, and all of our needs are met. Wholeness and the perfection of life expresses in us as beauty, abundance, and the fulfillment of our highest good. Namaste. Now I'd like to share with you one of my writings from a few years ago, and it's called My vision for a better world. The world that I live in is only a projection of my mind. Projection makes perception. The outer world is but a projection of my inner world. To have a better world, I envision that within my mind. I take responsibility, for I have learned to control my thoughts. They are all neutral until I decide what I wish to choose. I know that all loving and positive thoughts are shared by the sonship. If I wish to see a world of peace, then I must project this thought out into the universe. And if I wish a world of love, then I must project this thought out into the universe. I must become what I desire to see. This world can only be changed by my knowing everyone desires the very same thing. That is, to be loved and to be accepted. So by understanding that, I now am able to shift into a higher level of consciousness. My world is now a wonderful place because this is what I have created. I have a world of love and a world of peace. Namaste.
In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace, and I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace, and I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment there is peace.
Good morning. And how you share Rosie's sentiments. Happy Thanksgiving, no matter how it's going to show up in your life this year. Wow. So we begin the holiday season with Thanksgiving this coming Thursday. And so I thought that it would be appropriate to talk about gratitude. Duh. But I've chosen a little bit different take on it. I think I've chosen radical gratitude as our topic this morning, because we're all grateful when good things happen to us. We all genuinely say thank you when someone gives us a gift or does us a favor. Thank you, Rosie, for the cookies. Thank you, Leslea, for sharing your art.
You know, that's what we do. Thank you for setting up. Wanda was in that group too. I mean, she's already been over to the office, I think, 3 times. So that's the easy part of gratitude. But radical gratitude is the ability to hold on to what's good in life, no matter how much pain and suffering we may be experiencing at the time. You know, several weeks ago, John Lopez used the scripture from Paul, in all things give thanks. And I have used it often as well. I mean, it's almost like a mantra here at our center. And we are practicing radical gratitude when we can look at something that appears to be devastating and find something good in it. You know, 2 back-to-back hurricanes that destroyed our home were the catalyst for what brought me here. So I give thanks, not for the destruction of my home, but that in that destruction, I found my home. So, and I've told you about my friend B. Jorgensen, who became sober after years of acute alcoholism. And one of the things, I can still see her because she almost had tears in her eyes. And she said to me, Donna, I am so grateful for my alcoholism. There isn't a woman who comes through these doors whose story isn't mine. So those wretched experiences that were part of B's alcoholism produced in her a compassion and connection that she could have never had without them. In all things, give thanks. Radical gratitude. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because we do talk about it all the time. But I think it's important that you and I realize that much of the time, the world doesn't see these things the same way that we do. You know, if you talked about radical gratitude in the way that we do, it would be a hard sell. It would be a hard sell. So you and I do look at the world differently, and I love what Judy read this morning, or her writings, because it's exactly what she's saying. That this is what we're about, to look through those things to the truth, to the beauty, to the joy in it, and find that radical thanksgiving that is right in front of us. So our theme this month, as you know, is And All Shall Be Well, and that's part of the revelation from Julian of Norwich, which she called her showings. For those of you who hadn't heard it before, she was literally dying. She'd been given last rites, and when she had a series of revelations, during which all her symptoms disappeared and then returned at the end of the showings. But in that time, she asked this Christ consciousness or Jesus or whatever it was she was talking to, she said, why do people suffer? And the answer came, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all matter of things shall be well. And Julian understood this to mean that everything is already well. It is we who perceive it as suffering. And I've been trying to get my head around this, and I came up with an example, okay? Suppose for a moment that there's a remote and unpopulated part of the world. It is hit by a huge earthquake. Well, scientists say that major earthquakes are necessary actually to maintain the atmosphere of this planet. If it weren't for earthquakes, the earth would have dried up a long time ago. So we can look at this earthquake and we can say, boy, that is a good thing. It's something that nourishes the earth. But if that same magnitude earthquake hits a major city, causing massive destruction and loss of life, we say that is a terrible thing. And we look on it as the cause of great harm and suffering. And yet, the earth is doing what it has always done, to be self-sustaining and nurturing. And it's not the earth that deems this as suffering. We, because we have empathy and compassion, see it as something bad because we see the pain that is caused in individual lives. So we are the ones that are perceiving it bad. We are calling it that when it's a normal activity of the earth in order to survive. Isn't that a good example? I tell you, I've been really struggling. That's why I keep repeating her mantra, because it's like, I don't get this. So I thought that kind of helped me, and I think it may help you too. And I think that that's exactly what Julian discovered in her revelations, that when we come from this perspective, not only is there something to be grateful for in all things, but we can glimpse the idea that ultimately everything works together for good. Earthquakes, tsunamis, pandemics, other natural causes. And then we can extend that to things like man-made experiences, like the Holocaust, or devastation caused by wars. And it's a big thing to swallow. You know, as I say, I have yet to come to grips with it. But I'm beginning to sense the truth in it. And I sense this was the crux of her revelation, that no matter how awful we might judge a situation, the truth is all things work together for good. Ultimately, all things work together for good. And our job in Radical Thanksgiving is to be able to hold this paradox, these contradictory emotions of bliss and suffering together, so that suffering then can break our hearts open in order for that bliss to follow. Physician and author Lissa Rankin puts it this way: it's about cultivating the ability to hold a paradox. We can both feel the deep pain of grief, loss, and tragedy, and we can be grateful for the ways in which such experiences crack us open, shatter the illusions of the ego, and wake us up to the truth of being. These experiences allow us to finally be able to see and feel and experience that we are all one, and we are simply here to love each other and care for one another, should we finally choose to say yes to our true calling. She goes on, we can cry out with the horror of heartbreak, and we can also feel gratitude for the opportunity to dive all the way into the fully enlivening human experience of heartbreak. Both can be true at the same time without skipping anything. We can welcome it all, the betrayal, the violation, the disappointment, the horror, but also the ways in which tragedy brings us together, reminds us who we are, helps us remember what our core values are, and knocks us out of the complacency of everyday life. So that to me is radical gratitude. It emerges when we face challenges that grow our soul. And I don't think that we jump into it without preparatory work. So we begin with the easy stuff. You know, remember those gratitude journals that we all started at one point in our life? I don't know where mine is. But I suggest we start a new one or blow the dust off the old one and start to write down the things that we are grateful for. Just a few things before we go to bed at night. It's amazing. I've told you this story a gazillion times, but when I first started in classes and I had to do a gratitude journal, I had one entry. You know, it was, I found a nickel on the street. I remember that. I mean, that's been many years ago. But that's all I could think of. By the end of a month, I had to use at least 2 pages. You know, that's what it does. It starts this reservoir of stuff that's already inside us to come up and out and spill over. So let's get our gratitude journals out, and then if you've got one that's been in the back closet, pull it out and reread it, because that's another thing that reminds us all the things that we do have to be grateful for. Albert Einstein once said that there are 2 ways to live your life: either that everything is a miracle, or that nothing is a miracle. So when we can bring a sense of awe into our everyday experience, seeing everything as a miracle, we transform everything from something mundane to something sacred. And every tiny experience becomes an opportunity for gratitude because we see the miracle. You know, Brother David Stendal Rast has a beautiful video called A Good Day. And if you've been with us for a while, you've seen it because we show it. You know, we've shown it several times, and I know Rosie's shaking her head because she's one of her favorites too. But you can Google it, or you can go to his website, which is gratefulness.org, and find it there. During this Thanksgiving time, take a moment. It's 5 minutes, I think, maybe a little 5.5. It really makes you stop and think what we have to be grateful for, and so much we take for granted that we don't have. You know, I remember I had my administrative assistant when I worked at Founders, was part of Desert Storm, and she said when I came back to the States, she said, I stood in the bathroom and I flushed the toilet over and over and over because she had used a shovel all those months. So do we give thanks every time we flush the toilet? I mean, it's something to think about. So, and then his website also included an article, Practices to Cultivate a Truly Grateful Thanksgiving. And those are your handout that's in your flyer, and I'm just going to go over them because, again, I thought it might help us with our journal and with looking at ways to be grateful. But the first one is notice all of the factors that go into your travels this week. A working vehicle, the ability to drive, public transportation, infrastructure, gasoline and gas stations, laws, and devices that help keep us safe. You know, do we ever give thanks for our car? Do we ever give thanks? Yeah, John says he does. You know, John and I, with John fully retired now, we decided we didn't need a second car, and so we sold it. But there are times when it's truly an inconvenience not to have two cars. You know, we have to coordinate appointments, and so we're very happy with our decision. We're not at all unhappy with it. We didn't realize that it would come with some reframing. So. And one of the saddest things I watched when I was in Florida was the need for a friend to have to give up driving because of her eyesight. You know, and that's another thing that we just jump in our car and we go somewhere, and we don't, and without even thinking about it. And there are those who can't do that. When was the last time we gave thanks when we pumped our gas? When was the last time we gave thanks for AAA or whatever roadside assistance we might have? You know, John and I last week we had a blowout on I-19, and it was probably the first time that I've ever truly given thanks to AAA. You know? But the guy came within 20 minutes, and it was, oh my God, and he changed the tire, and we were on our way. So, yeah, give thanks for those silly little things that you wouldn't even think about. And the second practice is each day tell someone in your life you appreciate them. You might even try it with someone you're struggling with interpersonally. How does it feel to verbally express your appreciation for someone? What happens in your body and in your heart? How does it impact your relationship with that person? John Kralik is the author of A Simple Act of Gratitude, How Learning to Say Thank You Changed My Life. And his life, everything was falling apart in his life. There was a divorce in progress. His law firm was failing. I mean, everything was going wrong. And he made a commitment to write a thank you note every day for a year. Not an email. It had to be a written thank you note that he sends. And he even kept a spreadsheet so that he would know exactly when he wrote them and what happened as a result. And his entire life turned around. And after that 365 days, he says, I'm going on with this because I can see a difference. I can see a difference in my life when I write those notes, and I can see a difference in my life when I don't. The third practice is take time to wholeheartedly express gratitude for all of the people who serve you in some way. Rather than a quick thank you, explore what it feels like to pause, smile, make eye contact, perhaps even steal a glance at someone's name tag so that you can include their name when saying thanks. Wish them well and mean it. How does this shift your experience of receiving? How does the practice shift your experience of thanking others? So, I mean, how isn't it true that so many of us? I mean, I'm guilty of it. I completely disregard the waitress that serves me at a table. I mean, I smile at her and I say thank you, but I'm not really there. And David Snellrist is saying, be there, be present. And the same true with the checkout person at Walmart or the bank teller, all those places where we are served. And practice 4 is try to savor every moment. Focus especially on those moments when completing tasks that may feel mundane or tiresome. Yeah, I don't like housework. But I love the feeling when everything is neat and in order. So I'm not sure, but I'm going to make it a point to give thanks for having done the dishes or mopped the floor, because it contributes to that nice feeling of order. Do we give thanks when we pay the bills? You know, not only for completing the task, but for the other person, and for our ability to pay them, but also for the other person that had trust in us, because we pay a bill after the service in most cases. So what if we said, no, I'm not going to do it? You know. So they're trusting us, and we need to give thanks that they have that trust in us. So those are just some of the ways that we can bring gratitude to the fore of our consciousness, and you and I can fill in the blanks. We don't need to use these 4. We can make up our own. But all that we do need to do is to focus on gratitude, because that's what fills our heart with love, compassion, and connection. You know, on one of our Coffee with the Rev Zoom meetings that we have on Tuesday mornings, we focused on the pandemic and ways we could be grateful in it. And people said, I have more time to do my spiritual work. I have more time for meditation. I have more me time. The other thing is we've discovered Zoom. I mean, even the least technical among us, which is yours truly, I know how to do Zoom. I can actually set up a meeting. So these are, and Melinda last week learned how to do breakout rooms. So we're getting really cool with this stuff. But that's something to be grateful for. Technology has stepped in where isolation has been a problem. And I think for you and me too, we are recognizing the preciousness of being able to gather together. There are many churches who have shut down and don't plan to open at all, period, until the spring. We have been able, because of the graciousness of Doug and Tia, to be able to use this space, which we're going to continue to use even when the weather is inclement. We're just going to bundle up a little bit more. So rather than going inside as long as the pandemic is spiking. So again, these are things that within this horrible health challenge, we can find ways to give thanks and be grateful. And all of those things actually lead back into our ability to hold the paradox, because I kind of like that, the idea of holding these two things. To know that good and evil, that joy and sorrow, elation and devastation, they're all two sides of the same coin. And that if we can allow our pain and sorrow to break open our hearts, not just break our hearts, but break them open, then we find a deeper connection with life, with others, and with ourselves. We've all heard Khalil Gibran's words about joy and sorrow. The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. But in another chapter, he speaks about pain. And I think these words enhance our idea of radical gratitude, of being able to stand in pain as it breaks us open to the depths of our being. And from there, we can intuitively know that all things shall be well, and all things shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. So I'm going to close with Khalil Gibran today. Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Even as the stone of the fruit must break, that its heart may stand in the sun, so must you know pain. And could you keep your heart in wonder at the daily miracles of your life, your pain would not seem less wondrous than your joy, and you would accept the seasons of your heart, even as you have always accepted the seasons that pass over your fields. And you would watch with serenity through the winters of your grief. So when we are able to keep our hearts in wonder at the daily miracles of life, to find serenity in the midst of grief, then we have the capacity for that deep connection. And as mythologist Joseph Campbell says, we are able then to participate joyfully in the sorrows of the world and to be radically grateful for all of it. Thank you so much. Namaste.
If you notice, this week I'm doing all Karen Drucker's music in order to prepare you for her Wednesday night program. Because her music is so wonderful, and there's so many songs in her catalog about gratitude and about thankfulness. And this is one I thought might be nice to do today, because even though we can't sing together and hold hands and sing together, we can do some hand movements behind our masks. And in doing so, we actually spread that gratitude out to everybody around us. And here's how it goes. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, and above me, and gratitude below me, gratitude within me, and gratitude all around me. And I'm so grateful. This is the sign language for thank you. So you hold your hand out in front of you and then you say thank you. Yeah, I'm so grateful, and I'm so grateful. And if you get tired of doing this, simply put your gratitude up. Lift it up. Yeah. So, here we go. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Let's do it again. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 So grateful. I want you to turn to the person next to you, or as close to you as they are. Let them know that you are grateful for them. Give them a namaste. Give them an air hug. Thank you. Thank you for each and every one of you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you, Spirit, for this place. Thank you, Spirit, for all of you. Namaste.
My gift goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless all that it touches. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I share generously of my good, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, again, happy Thanksgiving in whatever form it takes for you this year. I know a lot of us are in prayer over this, the situation that we're in. And I was talking to Melinda a few days ago, and I believe that the fact that these vaccines are coming at record speed are not only a product of science, but a product of prayer. And that this is what we have to do in holding that high watch, that high consciousness, in looking beyond and seeing the good in it. So with that, let's just take a moment to give thanks for this day, for the blessed, beautiful space that we have in which to hold our celebration. We give thanks for each other and for all the good in our lives. We speak a word for everyone who's experiencing any kind of pain, any kind of devastation, and know that right where that situation is the power and presence of God. I give thanks for the opportunity to be here with my spiritual family, in my spiritual home, and to know that each one of us are expressing that divine love of God in our unique and beautiful ways. And for that, the world is a better place. And I release these words into that law of mind to do its perfect work as together we say, and so it is. Thank you very much. God bless you.